who wants to understand the gist of Bhagavad Gita. Say, for example, a non-devotee wants to know what is Bhagavad Gita. We cannot tell 700 pages with 18 chapters. So this small book of 40 pages will help that. So basically, it will give from starting to the end of this Bhagavad Gita in a nice way. In a nice way. What are all the 5 important topics that Bhagavad Gita discusses, and how it goes. That is how this introduction chapter is given actually. So last week we discussed about especially the the purpose of our life. The purpose of our life is our human life, especially the purpose of human life is basically to go back to Godhead. Go back to Godhead. Okay, so especially the verse we discussed about is 8.5. What is that verse? Antakalecha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati natrastha hamseha. So this verse is especially talking about Krishna. Those who remember me at the time of death, they don't have any birth again, they will come to me. That we discussed in length. Now, the other way, say suppose if we don't remember Krishna, then what will happen? If we don't remember Krishna, then what will happen? Right? So this is also very important. Why is it is very rare that we remember Krishna at the time of death unless until we are very fortunate enough. Fortunate enough. Very few souls are fortunate. They leave their body, on an Ekadasi day. They leave their body on a festival day. They leave their body while people are chanting around him, while people are, while he is unconscious, while he is reciting something. Is very, very fortunate people living like that, a body like that. But sometimes it is so unfortunate we couldn't remember a single thing about Krishna at the time of death. So for them, what will happen? What is the story? Where do they go? So that is what is being explained in today's class. So let us read. So I see a good number of people. I see Madhuradish Prabhu joined. Thank you, Prabhu. And I see Divya. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, I see Divya Mataji and also who else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thanks for joining. I say Krishna Prabhuji too, Dhanvat Pranam. All right, so who would like to read today? Anyone would like to give it a try? Don't be shy.
I will read.
Yes.
The Bhagavad Gita 8.6 also explains the general principles that makes it possible to enter the spiritual kingdom simply by thinking of the Supreme at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyante talevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his present body, in his next life he will attain to that state without fail. Now first we must understand that material nature is a display of one of the energies of the Supreme Lord. In the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61, the total energies of the Supreme Lord are delineated. Vishnu Shakti para prokta kshetragnakhya tatha para avidya karma samgnanya trutiya shakti rishyate. The Supreme Lord has diverse and innumerable energies which are beyond our conception. However, great learned sages or liberated souls have studied these energies and have analyzed them into 3 parts. All of the energies are the Vishnu Shakti. That is to say that they are different potencies of Lord Vishnu. The first energy is Para. transcendental. Living entities also belong to the supreme energy, as has already been explained. The other energies or material energies are in the mode of ignorance. At the time of death, either we can remain in the inferior energy of this material world, or we can transfer to the energy of the spiritual world. So the Bhagavad Gita 8.6 says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajante त्यजत्यन्ते कलेवरं tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his present body, in his next life he will attain to that state without fail.
Please continue.
In life, we are accustomed to thinking either of the material or of the spiritual energy. Now, how can we transfer our thoughts from the material energy to the spiritual energy? There are so many literatures which fill our thoughts with the material energy, newspapers, magazines, novels, etc. Our thinking, which is now absorbed in these literatures, must be transferred to the Vedic literatures. The great sages, therefore, have written so many Vedic literatures such as the Puranas. The Puranas are not imaginative, they are historical records. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.122, there is the following verse. Maya mugda jivera nahe swatah Krishna gnana Jivera Krupaya Kaila Krishna Veda Purana. The forgetful living entities or conditioned souls have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord and they are engrossed in thinking of material activities. Just to transfer their thinking power to the spiritual sky, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa has given a great number of Vedic literatures. First, he divided the Vedas into 4. Then he explained them in the Puranas, and for less capable people, he wrote the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, there is given the Bhagavad Gita. Then all Vedic literatures is summarized in the Vedanta Sutra, and for future guidance, he gave a natural commentation of the Vedanta Sutra called Srimad Bhagavatam. We must always engage our minds in reading these Vedic literatures. Just as materialists engage their minds in reading newspapers, magazines, and so many materialistic literatures, we must transfer our reading to these literatures which are given to us by Vyasadeva. In that way, it will be possible for us to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. This is the only way suggested by the Lord, and he guarantees the result. There is no doubt. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर यद्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time continue your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Bhagavad Gita 8.7. He does not advise Arjuna simply to remember him and give him his occupation. No, the Lord never suggests anything impractical. In this material world, in order to maintain the body, one has to work. Human society is divided according to work into 4 divisions of social order: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. The Brahmana class or intelligent class is working in one way. The Kshatriya or administrative class is working in another way. And the mercantile class and the laborer are all tending their specific duties. In the human society, whenever one is a laborer, merchant, administrator, or farmer, or even if one belongs to highest class and is a literary man, a scientist, or a theologian, he has to work in order to maintain his existence. The Lord therefore tells Arjuna that he need not give up his occupation but while he is engaged in his occupation, he should remember Krishna, Mamanusmara. If he does not practice remembering Krishna while he is struggling for existence, then it will be not possible for him to remember Krishna. It will not possible for him to remember Krishna at the time of death. Lord Chaitanya also advises this. He says, Kirtaniyah Sadaharihi. One should practice chanting the name of the Lord always. The names of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. The Lord Krishna's instructions to Arjuna to remember me and Lord Chaitanya's instructions to always chant the names of Lord Krishna are the same instruction. There is no difference because Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. In the absolute status, there is no difference between reference and referent. Therefore, we have to practice remembering the Lord always, 24 hours a day, by chanting his name and molding our life's activities in such a way that we can remember him always.
Yeah, please continue this one too. This is an example of the top.
Okay. How is this possible? The Acharyas give the following example. If a married woman is attached to another man, or if a man has an attachment for a woman other than his wife, then the attachment is to be considered very strong. One with such an attachment is always thinking of the loved one. The wife who is thinking of her lover is always thinking of meeting him. Even while she is carrying out her household chores. In fact, she carries out her household work even more careful so her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the supreme lover, Sri Krishna, and at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. A strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty and at the same time remember him. But we have to develop that sense of love. Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was the constant companion of Krishna, and at the same time, he was a warrior. Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest to meditate. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, Arjuna says that the practice of this system is not possible for him. Arjuna Bhuvacha Yoyam Yogastvaya Proktaha Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham na pashyami Chanchalatvat Stitam Stiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for their mind is restless and unsteady. Bhagavad Gita 6.33. But the Lord says, Yoginamapi sarvesham matkatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. Of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinking of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me is the most intimately and united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Bhagavad Gita 6.47. So one who thinks of the Supreme Lord always is the greatest yogi, the supermost gnani and the greatest devotee at the same time. The Lord further tells Arjuna that as a Kshatriya, he cannot give up his fighting. But if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Yeah, you can stop here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So from here, starting 8.6. So 8.5, we discussed that if we remember Krishna, we all go to Krishna's Goloka and we play with Krishna. Whatever the works, around Krishna, we go, undoubtedly. But if we don't remember Krishna, so what will happen? So he said, whatever we remember, we get that. What does it mean actually? Whatever we remember, we get the same state. What it means? For example, We are all having certain inspirations in life, isn't it? For example, someone who is working in IT industry, their goal is to become something like Bill Gates, something like Steve Jobs, something, whatever, become the CEO of certain company. That means these aspirations are there somewhere in the subconscious mind. When we die off with those subconscious minds, what happens? Those desires, we may not openly say, but they are there inside our heart, isn't it? Who is there in the heart? The Lord is sitting in the heart. Hridayasya, he is sitting in the heart. So, Hrudeshu Arjuna Tishtade, right? He is in the Hridaya, he is in the heart. So the Lord is sitting in the heart. Sarvasya cha hrudi sannivisto. Multiple times he said in Bhagavad Gita that I am sitting in the heart of the living entity. That means whatever the desires we have, we may not say openly, but the Lord knew already. And at the time of death, if we still dearly want that, he will fulfill it. I want it to be say sometimes, a person who is not intelligent and he is not praised at all, he is getting all the time some kind of scolding from. So what he feels, whenever he looks at an intelligent person, oh, if I could be this intelligent person, that would be wonderful. So we do have all these tendencies. It's natural. It's natural. When I was a small boy, like 7 years, 8 years old, what is my wishes? And out of all the wishes, the biggest wish I have is, when do I grow big, fast? When do I go big fast, so that I can earn, I can have everything full for myself without sharing to my brothers? Because we are having three brothers, we are being three brothers, everything has to be shared. Everything, a fruit, a dress, or whatnot, everything has to be shared. I don't like sharing when I was a boy. Of course, I share, but there are certain things I don't want to share it. So I realized it. Okay, if I become independent, I need not to share. I can earn full for myself. This is the idea when I was a small boy. That means this kind of ideas, even when we grow big, we do have to that level, isn't it? For example, a person who is living all along throughout his life in an apartment, and all his friends, relatives, everyone around him, somehow they all have an independent home. Now what happens? In the home, wife, children, parents, in-laws, all are asking, when all people are having home, why are you not having a home? This will become his top priority. And what will happen if his top priority is not fulfilled? This is the priority that's stuck in his mind. That means our mind is going after whatever the things we normally come across in life. While walking, we see homes. While going to the job, we see, nice fancy cars. When we see our children, we see compare our children with the neighbors' children of the same school, same this one, same everything. We compare, isn't it? It's very natural to compare. How else we know that? How else we gauge our children, right? How far our child is in terms of their knowledge and other things, how do we know? Unless until we compare them with the neighbor's kid. That means we are in a way, or we are situated in a way that we do naturally all these things at all. That means we are completely stuck in this mindset. Now what happened? With that mindset, if we leave our body, we are going to born with the same mindset. Same mindset. Without fail. Crystal clearly Krishna is telling. Tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. Without fail, we get that one. So it is very, very important for us to realize what do we wish? What do we wish before we die? This is very, very important for us to realize this fact. So what is the suggestion made? The suggestion made, spend as much time as possible with transcendental activities. What does it mean? That means if we look at our day of 24 hours, I think we discussed this many times before too. On a 24-hour window, how many hours we are spending on transcendental activities, how many hours we are spending on the mundane activities. If it is not balanced, no matter how much we do, our mind is still go after material things. If you just practice 1 hour morning time and the rest of 23 hours spent in the material world, our conscious is not going to change much. It's very simple to test it. Very simple to test it. How many of us right away at the end of the day show interest to attend a call? Isn't it? Best example is our own call. Our own call, we started this one on Thursday, 7:30. And if we look at it, our list, originally when I sent this email, there used to be 50 people there. How many people join? Hardly 9-10 people join, right? So what happened to the remaining people? That means they are good people, but they couldn't find time. They couldn't find time. Some other things coming and taking priority. Genuinely, they may come and take priority. But this is where Krishna is asking. Focus more on reading transcendental literature. Why this transcendental literature is so important? That is why Bhagavatam, a beautiful verse is said. What is this? Anardopasanam sakshat bhakti. What is that? Bhakti yogam adokshaje. Anardopasanam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshaje. So, to mitigate all the troubles which we have, what do we need to? Bhakti yoga madokshaje. That means we have to worship Lord Krishna, adhokshaja, the one who lifts up from fallen state, adhokshaja, ata ukshaja. So it's taking up. So he is adhokshaja. Lokasya ajanato vidvams Chakara Satvata Samhitam. But how do we know? This thing, all the people don't know. How to get rid of our troubles? Where is the solution? Everyone is searching, but they don't know where to search. For that reason, Lokasya Ajanato, they don't know. What happens? Vidvams. So, Vedavyas, what did he do? Chakara. He compiled, he created Satvata Samhitam. That means these books, all these books related to the devotees, how to reach out to Krishna. How to reach out to Krishna. That means these books were given for a purpose. These books were giving ideas, thoughts, process, everything that inspires us. And there are lessons that we can learn from the mistakes of others. There are so many great people who did mistakes and fallen. We can listen to their stories, read their stories, understand from them. Understand from them. For example, Saurav Muni. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Saurabh Muni. Saurabh Muni, he meditated 60,000 years sitting in a river, in a lake. 60,000 years. Not one day, 2 days. But guess what? After doing 60,000 years of tapasya, just one day, he looked at it, two fishes mating, and he completely got disturbed. He came out and he started living. With his tapashakti, he made himself young and he created kingdoms. He married 100 queens, 100 princes, and then he lived forever. And he realized only after end of his life, oh, what I did, what a foolish person I am. Instead of going to Krishna, I have fallen back. So what is the idea of doing 60,000 years of meditation when we don't have proper guidance? So most important is we should know the priorities. We should be serious about the priorities. So here, especially at the end of this one, Arjuna crystal clearly mentioned one thing. What did he mention? Krishna, practicing this meditation, controlling the mind is impossible to me. Chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramadi balavadrudam tasyaham nigrahamanye vayoreva sudushkaram. This is Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, I think 34th verse or 35th verse, something like that. So he said, "Oh Krishna, even I can control the wind, but I cannot control this mind. And you are asking the mind to be focused on you. How do I do that? How do I do that?" This is the question of Arjuna. So we are all has to focus on Krishna. How do we do that? Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. So he said, yes, it is very, very difficult. But what he said, abhyasa yogena tato mam ichaptam. Abhyasa yogena. So we have to practice it. You know, even in the material world also we have a saying. What is it? Practice makes man perfect, isn't it? That means we have to practice it. This practice of chanting, practice of listening, practice of reading, practice of worshipping Krishna, what it is, even though it appears mechanical, see, sometimes we ask, oh Prabhuji, I'm chanting 2 hours, but I don't feel the taste, Prabhu. Somehow it is like dry, somehow it is like parak eating, it's a kind of, there is no taste in Prabhu. It is true, it is not tasting, but we must continue. This is something like this. We have a disease and we are taking medicine. Is the medicine is sweet, nice? No, medicine is bitter, tasteless. But we have to continue to get cure. The same way, even though it is tasteful, the chanting, but for us, it is not tasteful. But we have to continue. We have to practice this so that all this is we are doing is to remember Krishna at the time of death. This is for that one moment. That means throughout our life, we are practicing how to remember Krishna. But what are we doing actually? So that is why a beautiful example was given. What example was given? Very strong example was given. Because in the material world, if you look at the papers, search internet today, what is the most committed crime in this world today? Due to what? The reason. Most committed crime for what reason?
Drinking, Prabhu?
No. The most committed treason in this world today. You look at the papers every single day, there will be multiple newses on this one. Illegal. Yes, go ahead. Someone trying to say? Correct.
Accidents, Prabhuji.
Accidents,
Like by what?
accidents
What?
normally happen, Mataji. But what I'm saying is, this is something we commit. Adulteration. Adulteration. So basically, what sort of adulteration? Illicit relationships. The most crime today, if you look at it throughout, the illicit relationships are the ones worst throughout the world. You know, what you call lover and this one become, killing the husband and this and that. Why? Because this is only one relationship which is not accepted by the society as it is. We got attracted to so much, isn't it? Nobody in the material world appreciate an illicit relationship. That being said, we got attracted to so much, so much. So we can clearly see the people who are having this kind of relationship, how do they behave? They behave, take it to such an extent, unimaginable, unimaginable. Sometimes we may think that, will this really happen? In the real world, will this really happen? But it does happen. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this illicit relationship. In the history, there is a great battle happened just because of one lady doing this kind of. Anyone remember? It is a very famous movie has come, and a popular lead actor has, and the worldwide it collected so much money on this one.
Cleopatra?
Cleopatra was old one, but it is somewhat similar. But this is somewhat a new one after Cleopatra. And yes, Cleopatra is one of them, but this one is even more popular because she is a princess, got married to someone, and when other country's prince come, and she got attracted to him and elope with him and leaving him behind it or something, and this kind of illicit relationship put the between the two countries, and they fought, and God knows, everyone dies. Everyone dies. The famous movie. Anyone heard about Helen of Troy? Helen of Troy. Her name is Helen. Troy. This is the Troy history. If you go and search on internet, you can find tons of information. Just one lady's illicit relationship caused both sides completely die in the field. So see that strong connection. The point here it is not the illicit relationship. The point here to emphasis is see this strong connection. That is the connection we must have with Krishna. We must have with Krishna. That means our top priority is Krishna. If I die, don't care. If I have to sacrifice my family, don't care. I had to sacrifice my country for Krishna, don't care. That means my one and only goal is Krishna. That kind of firm determination. That is what he is expecting here. That is what he is expecting here. Especially if we take the example of Arjuna. What is Arjuna's argument? In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's argument is, they are my brothers, they are my cousins, they are my forefathers, they are my grandfathers, they are my grandchildren. This is the way Arjuna argues with Krishna. And in all levels, Arjuna is right. By killing our own relatives, enjoying afterwards, there is nothing to enjoy. Everything is sad. Everything is sad, isn't it? Even in our real life, check out. If our own siblings are suffering on the other hand, and we are living happily here, and when we come to know that our siblings are suffering, will we be happy? We never happy. We never happy. So Arjuna is not happy by killing Duryodhana. He refused it. Then what makes him to kill afterwards? Krishna gave a perspective to Arjuna. He gave a perspective to Arjuna. What did he say? What you are killing is not your cousin. What you are killing is just a body. That is not Duryodhana. So the most important is by the desire of whatever it is, we are achieving this body, and this body has some time limit. Some time limit. And in the time limit, whatever it came to achieve it, it will try to achieve it. So the very, very fundamental thing here it is we being living in this material world, we are forced to work. There is no way we can stop working. There is no way we can stop working. We have to work. But somehow find a way to remember Krishna 24/7. I have another example. Somehow this stuck my mind. This example is something like this. Most of the people, when they go to offices, most of the people, before they leave home, they apply perfume. Perfume. Why do they apply perfume? They wanted to smell nice for their colleagues who are sitting besides them. The best the cologne, the best the perfume they use, the longer the smell on the body stays. That means when we go to office at 9, if the perfume is strong, good enough, it will keep that good smell until we come back home. Even though we don't think about smell, perfume, we are working, but our body constantly releases this perfume, smell to the other people. What does it mean actually? That means before we go to office, if our sadhana is strong, determined, then what will happen? Our mind is never attracted to these material activities. We do very mechanically those activities, but our mind is still on Krishna. I heard some of them said like this. For example, Navina Radha Mataji. Navina Radha Mataji has a small Bhagavad Gita book or something at her desk. Whenever she get or kind of that Bhagavad Gita book right in front of her at her monitor all the time. So what it is? She always try to somehow remember Krishna through Bhagavad Gita. Someone said, I hang a japamala to my monitor. Why japamala to my monitor? Anytime I get distracted or something, take the japamala and chant around. Someone hang a Krishna picture at his desk. That means we have to find somehow that we remember Krishna all the time. Ena tena prakarena mana Krishna nivesayat. Rupa Goswami is telling, whatever you do, somehow figure it out. Your mind absorbed in Krishna's thoughts. Then what will happen? Sarva vidhi nishedasyor etayoreva kinkara. Then all the rules, regulations we must follow automatically be followed. Automatically be followed. We need not to worry about it. So this is why all our goal, no matter which scripture we read, no matter what method we practice, no matter whatever we do in our life, the ultimate goal is to go back to Krishna, to live forever happy. This forever happy is only possible with Krishna. There is no other place, anywhere, this forever happy is available. Forever happy is only available with Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is the only one unlimited. The rest is all limited. Krishna is the only one unlimited. So our desires are unlimited. Our happiness must be constantly changing. The only person who can fulfill that is Krishna. So that is why here it is very clearly saying that. No? So I'll stop it here and let us see if we have any comments and questions. We have Mahesh Prabhu, Madhuradesh Prabhu, and Nalini Mataji, and Krishna Prabhu, and I think Nayanar Prabhu also joined nicely. So thanks. So any comments, questions from anyone? Divya Mataji, especially Divya Mataji, you joined. Any comments, questions, Mataji?